Hey guys, it's time for our next math lesson. It is today going to be multiplying with decimals. And I know some of you might have a little bit of an idea how to do this. And some of you have no idea. And so we're going to do a couple practice problems today. And I want to make sure you know the difference between adding and subtracting decimals and multiplying decimals. Because if you'll remember, when we add or subtract decimals, we have to be extremely careful about making sure that the decimals are lined up regardless of where they are in the problem. So if we had, let's do purple. If we had the problem 2.546 plus 11.62. What I would need to do is rewrite that problem with the numbers on top of each other and making sure the decimals were in the right spot. So I would write 2.546 plus 11.62. And wherever there are blanks, I'll put a 0 just to make sure everybody knows that all the numbers are like that. We have done this before. We did a lot of adding and subtracting with decimals, so hopefully the adding and subtracting you remember. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 4 plus 2, 5, 6, 7, 11, drop the decimal, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And that easy as pie. Multiplication is different. Okay, you do not line up the decimals. Now, I'm going to go down here and give you a problem. Okay, so if I think the easiest way to do this is to take the decimals out and multiply like only you know how. And then go back and put them in, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So if I had 2.5 times 23. I'm going to go do this problem like I always do, and I'm going to take the decimals out. So I'm just going to do 25 times 23, okay? 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Put my 0, done, 5, 10. Carry that 1, 2, 4, 5. And I get 575. Okay, now as I'm looking at that, I can very clearly see that the answer to 2.5 times 23, it would not make sense for it to be 57.5. And I'm going to tell you that because if you look at this number right here, 2.5, that is actually closer to just 3 because that 5 would make the 3 go up, right? And then times 23. And if I just did 23 times 3, I'd get 69. And these numbers are nowhere near equal, okay? So, I'm just going to do this to show you this. So now I've got to go back and I've got to look at the decimal because I am not done. This isn't actually the answer. It's just an easy way of getting it. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at this 23. Is there any decimals in this problem? No. Okay. And now I go look at this one. And is there a decimal in this problem? Yes. How many decimals? There's 1. But it's important to know where that decimal is. And so the way you figure that out is you start from the end of the problem and you move over where that decimal is. And it just went over 1 spot, okay? So I'm going to come back here and starting in this same spot down here, I'm just going to move it over 1. And that is where my decimal would go. So the answer to this is 75.5. Okay, because I start over here. Again, now I'll make this a different color so you can see me doing it. I start there and move over wherever the decimal is I count, and it was just over 1. Okay, so again, I come here and I start in the same spot and I just go over 1, and that would make 57.5. All right, let's try that again. So I'd love it if you would get a piece of paper out and you could try this with me, because that's really just the only way that you're going to learn all of this. So let's try 2.3 times 14. Okay. Again, I'm going to do this problem. I'm going to take the decimal out. Not forever, just for now. And I'm going to multiply like normal. Okay. So 4 times 3 is 12. 4, 8, 9. Okay, I'm done with that. Put my 0, cross off my 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. And I get 2, 9, 10, 11, 12, 3, 22. Okay, now I'm not done because that's not right. And if I were going to look at this and be like, okay, well, I could make an estimation here. And I know 2.3 is actually closer to 2. And then it would be times 14. I can keep that 14. I could have made that a 15 too if I wanted. And 14 times 2 is 28. Okay, so I'm just going to put that number over here just to keep it in mind, because this number is nowhere near that, because I haven't put the decimal in yet. So now I'm going to go look at my original problem, just like before. Okay, is there any decimals in this one? No. If there were, I'd have to count them. Is there any decimals in this one? Yes, there is. And I'm going to see there's one decimal, and I'm going to go over to the 3 and start there and count however many times over, and it went over just 1. So now I'm going to come down here, starting at that 2, and I'm going to go over just 1. And so the answer is 32.2. And now is 32.2, which could also be closer to 32. Are 32 and 28 close when I was estimating? Yes. And that's important for you to be able to see. All right. Now, what if the decimal was in a different spot? Friends, let's go check that out. Okay. So I have one more example to do, and then I'm going to show you your math pages and what you'll be doing today. So if I had 5.08 times 27. Okay, now just so you know, 5.08 would be closer to 5, right? If I had $5.08, I would just round that down to 5, okay? Because that 8 isn't going to do me much good. So then I'd have 27, or I could round that 27 up to 30, and then that would give me a good idea of what my answer is supposed to be, which is why estimating sometimes is helpful. So if I were going to estimate, just to like 27's closer to 30 times 5, 0, 5, 10, 15. So I want to just be close to 150. I know that is kind of where I want my answer to be, okay? So now, remember, like I said, we are going to multiply this 5.0. Oops, sorry, I'm actually lying to you. I'm not doing that. Sorry about that. I'm doing this without the decimals. 508 times 27, and I'm going to multiply like I always do. All right, now what is 8 times 7? The answer is 56. All right, and then 7 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5, and 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, put my 0, cross off this, cross off this. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1. 5, 10. Add those. I get a 6. I get 11. 5, 6, 7. 3, and a 1. All right. Not done. Not done, friends. So now here I am again, going up just to look where my decimals are. No decimals there, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, here's a decimal. So again, I'm going to start at that 8, and I'm going to count how many times I need to go over to get to that decimal. And it was 1, 2. That's different than before. That's over 2. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to go over 1, 2. And that is where the decimal goes, 137.16. All right, I am hoping that my 150 and my 137 are pretty close together, because then I'll know I did it right. because I obviously it was just an estimation, but that is exactly what this is supposed to look like. So in this case, friends, I went over 2 times instead of 1 because it just depended on where the decimal was in the problem. Okay, so that helps you know exactly where to put your decimal. And so now I just want to show you what you're supposed to be doing because you will be doing some estimating today. All right. Let me go into my photos. Where are my photos from today? I'll pull this one in. Okay, this is one of the ones you're doing. Let's make this nice and big. All right. Okay, so this is going to be for your first page today at the very bottom. So the top, you're going to just be doing multiplying with decimals, and that'll be easy. This one says, and it is just like the Unit 9 pretest you took. For each problem below, the multiplication has been done correctly, but the decimal point is missing in the answer. Write a number model to show how you estimated the answer, and then correctly place the decimal point in the answer. Okay, so if you're looking at 23, oopsies. Okay, 23 is right here, right? Why isn't this working? There it is. Okay, 23, 23 is closer to 20. So that's going to be my estimate for that. Times, and 7.3. That 3 is just basically making the 7 just be a 7, okay? And so I know 7 times 2, so that should be about 140. That's about the estimate, okay? That's what that part looks like where it says number model. You're just doing an estimate, and you can round it to your nearest 10. You can round it to your nearest 100. You can round it to your nearest 1,000. Wherever you round it, it will be fairly close. It should be fairly close to what the actual answer is. And now I'm going to go up and look at my problems. And there is no decimal in 23, but there is 1 in 7.3. And I'm going to start at that 3 and go over. And it just went over 1 time. So I'm going to come over here to that 9, go over 1 time, and my decimal would go right there. Okay? I look over here, I can go and do the number model right now, but I can also just look at this. I have no decimal in that problem, but look here, 1, 2. So I'm going to go way over here and go over 1, 2. Oopsies. Why'd you do that, guy? Sorry. 1, 2, and the decimal would go right there. All right, looking over at this one, I have no decimal in here. I got 1 there, and it's just over 1 space, so this goes over 1 space. There's my decimal. Okay, look at this one, no decimal. There it is, 1, 2 over, so I'm going to go 1, 2 over, and that would be the answer. If you did that multiplication, that's where your decimal would go. Again, 5,203 would probably be closer to 5,000. I'd just call it that. And this would be times 13 because the 6 would have made that 12 go up. What is 5 times 13? I don't even know. 5 times 15, 565, 6500. Right? And here, oops, 000, because there's 3 zeros. All right, 65557, 65000 is my estimate. So that's how I know I did pretty good. So when you estimate, that's what they want you to do for the number model. They want you to estimate. So that 6.91 would have been closer to 7. That would have been closer to 80. 8, 64, 640. Yep, 566 is pretty close. Not bad. I'm not that far off. Is that 56? Oh, wait. And then here, 0.38. I mean, really, like, 0.38 is pretty much close to none. 0. 0 times 50. This one's kind of hard to look at because 38, maybe I could make it, it's 1 times 50. This one doesn't look so close to it. But at least it's not too far off. Anyway, that's how you do this page, okay, at the bottom of that page. And then there is one more little page I want to show you, just the part of the page, and it's the same thing. And this is what you'll be doing today. Let's make that bigger, make that bigger. Okay, so again, here you have 2.7 times 45. You are going to actually do the multiplication and get the answer. So do 27 times 45, get your answer, and then move your decimal over once, okay? But your number model would be 3, because 2.7 is probably just closer to 3, times 50. 5 times 3 is 15, add a 0, okay? 8 times, that's probably going to be closer to 6. All right, this is going to be 40 times 1. This would be probably just 5 times 30. Okay, but when you do the multiplication and they give you all kinds of work, place to work, you're going to be doing 0.97. You're going to take out that decimal for now, times 42. Okay, do your multiplication, get your answer, and then go count. It goes over twice, so wherever your answer is down here, you'll move over twice to put your decimal. All right, hopefully this was really clear and you guys get it. So ask me questions, post to me in Schoology if you don't understand this, but hopefully this made some sense and you guys can turn in both these pages today. All right?